name is Ronnie Daniels. I am just a private citizen as associated with the Polk County, as a PCP in the Polk County Republican Party. I'm also just a blue-collar American that loves everybody, that's constitutionally minded and has knowledge of history because we had good history teachers. So we don't repeat this, and met people that had experience that survived the Holocaust. My foster father was a Tuskegee Airman of World War II, Korea and Vietnam. My adopted father was in the Navy. My dad was in the Navy during the Gulf of Tonkin, all of the '66, and myself, I was in the Navy from '86 to '90. 30 years ago today, I was off the coast of South Korea before the Olympics, when the previous dictator was running the country.
And is there a nickname I think I heard?
My nickname's on the radios. They know me as the Black Redneck on the local radio. On national, my team roping, because I'm associated with ACTRA and the various other roping associations as a chute opener, chute operator, and in the process, they know me as Huckleberry.
Why is that?
Because J.R. Brand, he gave me that name because he couldn't remember my name. Pushing cattle up, and in the process, he says, I just gave it to you from Doc Holliday. Huckleberry is an adverb for hucklebear. When Doc Holliday said, I'll be a huckleberry, I'll be the one carrying you. That's what it means.
So why are you here today?
I'm here today because I've watched, and as growing up in Los Angeles, been part of when Tom Bradley was running it from '72 to whenever. Watched South Central, which was a middle-class area, go from '72 to '77, become a middle-class neighborhood where I was living at 91st and Normandy, and in the process, worrying about if you're going to get shot the next moment going around the block. I watched when city government says, we're looking out for you, and he tied the police officers' hands and said, we don't want to arrest too many people because we don't want to have them in jails. I watched and listened to people that survived the Holocaust, that survived the Germany situation, where 46% of the people, or better than that, voted and that participated and voted for Adolf Hitler. And the people that survived the Holocaust, I had a person in my life that I worked for, Butch Gunderson, who was the original Butch on the Our Gang series. His wife, Berta Gunderson, his second wife, she survived the Holocaust with her and her sister. Out of 61 members of her family, there was only 2. The rest of them either got burnt or whatever because they were real small kids and they was used to pick up things in machinery. So from those memories and those stories, Simon Wiesenthal used to come by our schools, talked about the cow, Auschwitz and Sobibor, those atrocities. We're not given that history of it. And with the Second Amendment right now being infringed on this case right now, where they're saying, and I watched and read about what happened in Australia, watched what happened down in various countries in Central and South America, the recent one is Venezuela. You don't have security. We have a bunch of little gang thuggeries that will be happening if we lose the second individual right to protect ourselves. If you don't give the law enforcement the right to do their job instead of constraining their hands, and if we don't have a justice system to hold them accountable instead of repetitively release them because of, you had 566,000 shootings in 1995. That represents 4% of the crimes in 1995. This data, the 2015 data from the Bureau of Statistics, FBI Bureau of Statistics, and other data has showed that there was only 206,000. You know why those things went down? Because as people was arming up after the Florida law, after the terrorists was killed down in South Florida, crime rate went down. That is factual.
What do you make of the Parkland movement, the March for Your Lives?
March for Your Lives. I believe personally that everybody has the right to freedom of expression. And in a situation, I believe that personally, as long as I don't have people like George Soros, who is a known collaborator with the Nazis in Hungary, who I don't see why our country ain't sending them so he can get justice in Hungary, don't do their job. And you got money coming in like that nature, undermining our individual liberties under the guise of safety. As our founding father John Adams says, if you're going to trade safety for your liberties, you shall lose them all. And it's been proven, whether it's here, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Asia. Look at South Africa. Look at that. They're going through, after Nelson Mandela got done with apartheid and everything else, is freeing liberties up. After he's gone, he's been gone not even 5 years. They're already trying to segregate whites off their lands, tell them what they can and can't carry, anything else. It's not a color thing, it's a human thing that we got to address. if we not take involved, we don't educate our kids about their own constitutions, about the rights. When I was growing up, even in the rural area of San Bernardino County in the foster home with Lee Nettles, we went out and we had BB guns. We had started learning how to use a 22 or 410 shotgun out in the rural area at 10, 11, 12 years old. We got the NRA. The NRA was originally started by Grant and William Tecumseh Sherman to help protect and get empowered blacks in the South, because they was being lynched, they was being told they couldn't own arms, they were setting laws and regulations, and they would go to courts for them in that time period. Right. But yet they don't teach that to these kids. The media don't care about that, as long as it goes with an agenda that is mainstream for the moment. Our liberties is endowed by my Creator, as our founding father said. If you don't believe it, go back to the English Bill of Rights, go back to the Magna Carta, which is 752 years old, go back to the Grand Remonstrance, go back to the Lee's Resolution, and then go to the Declaration of Independence. If you don't know that history, if you wasn't endowed that to your children, we got a generation that 41% of the population don't even know anything about the Holocaust or Auschwitz. You got, in the millennial generation, 2/3 of them are better that don't know it. Without that knowledge, it is sneaky back door, as you've seen in Venezuela, of the insurrection. Do we want to be like Assad in Syria? Do we want to be like Pol Pot? Do we want to be like Stalin? Do we want to be like, they don't talk about him much, the dictator of Spain after World War II, Franco, okay? Or Pinochet in Chile. When you take away the individual liberties, and the only ones can have it is the ones that's associated with the highest power, or they got enough money they can buy the way and have an armed team, or like our legislators, the governor's got a bodyguard. Who's going to protect me if somebody goes in my house? Who's going to protect me if I'm pulling off the side road, taking a nap at a rest stop, and they come up and they want to rob me? Who's going to protect me? You get on the phone, there's areas you can't use the phone. There's areas that you can't. The police response is limited because of the resources. We have to take that into consideration before we even talk about things. The way they're trying to go through and just blanket and slowly chip away. The latest law was Senate Bill 719F in my state. I went and testified against it, when the governor was there. That bill there, I can accusatorily accuse you. You can accuse me, employer, family member, and say that, oh, I don't need my gun. I'm a threat. But the main thing of that issue is this. There's no due process of the Fourth and Fifth Amendment, illegal search and seizure, not jury of your peers. They say, oh, we're going to treat it as a restraining order. You get one here and here. You got to show the burden of proof. How is that not helpful?
You for a moment?
Go ahead.
There was a really interesting thing you said that I hadn't heard before, in that the NRA originally helped defend minorities.
Yes, they did.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, over 130-some years ago, and I didn't realize it until about 15 years ago when I did some reading, that William Tecumseh Sherman, and after the presidency of Ulysses S. Grant, our president, there was things going on in the South. They helped started the foundations and afforded the money and everything else to the NRA to blacks and other citizens that was being persecuted, not just only in the South, even in some parts of the Northeast corridor, of their rights to carry a firearm. And in that process, there was blacks being lynched, and then rising of the Ku Klux Klan, and during that early rising in the 1870s, 1880s, that's when they decided to, and they were very successful in courts. The NRA, in truly sense, have been doing great, but at the same time, when you got outside money from like Soros, which is a right, based on the Supreme Court decision, money is free speech.